everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna work on this simple looking ring. I just call it net ring. It's right angle weave netting and embellished with 50 Nos. It's very simple process. It's very simple ring, but I wanted to do this tutorial because I did this tutorial earlier. Like if you watched Cleopatra ring, the backing, the band is exactly the same thing, and then you use the same netting when you do my V-neck Cleopatra necklace, and I'm sure there are several places I use this, but I still get comments and messages from my subscribers that it's very hard for them to do the multiple rows of right angle weave, and this is all it is. So this ring is when I want to practice it with you, and you'll end up with this gorgeous ring and you get to practice right angle weave. So I will do several rows with you step by step. Right angle weave, it looks simple and it should be simple to do. It's really basic math. It's just building square after square after square. Like, you know, I do a lot of tutorials with a cubic right angle weave where you build cube on top of cube on top of cube. So once you know, if you can do this first 2 rows, it means you can do the rest of it. It's always repetitious. It's always the same because it's math. It's only a couple things you need to know. It's just you need to know how to execute it as you go on. So today we're gonna work on this, and I decided to work on a very hot combination today. I'm gonna be working with this hot pink. Recently, I was going through the stash of my beads and realized there are so many colors I don't have, and this is not my choice of colors, but some people really like this color, so I decided I need to, you know, extend my stash. So we're gonna be using with hot pink and embellishing with 50 Nos, black 50 Nos. And you'll need Nymo. I'm gonna be using black, or you can always use any other thread you have. Nymo is not mandatory, it's just the thread I like working with. And then beading needle size 10, and then scissors to cut the thread. I think that's all you need so far. And thread your needle with comfortable length, and then we'll just get to work. So I have my beads ready, I have my thread, so we're just gonna get to work. I'm gonna pick up 8 11 O's. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 8 11 O's. I'm gonna drop it down. I'm gonna leave a short tail that I can sew in. That's all we need it for. And then I am gonna make 2 overhand knots here, connecting the beads into a circle. So what we're gonna do here, our right angle weave is done with 4 beads, but in this case what we do, square has 4 sides. We are using 2 beads to each side, so each unit has 8 beads instead. So that's what we're working on. So you can practice your math here. And what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna pass through the first 2 beads, because each side of the right angle weave unit will be 2 beads. So now imagine this is a square, and on top of this we want to paint a square. What would you do? You would paint 3 sides of the square on top of this. 1 2 3, because you already have one side of the square as part of the previous square. Same here, you build 3 walls instead of 4. So I'm gonna pick up 6 beads instead. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 6 beads, that's 3 sides, 2 beads each. And then I'm gonna pass through those 2 beads again, but coming through the other side. So now I have a second unit, right angle weave unit. It doesn't really look like a square right now because, you know, they're not reinforced on the sides. And once you keep on building, this bead's gonna stand up straight, this bead's gonna stand up straight. It will start looking like a square eventually. So what I did here in this ring, I have 4 rows. I made it for my middle finger, so it's perfect width I can bend my fingers, but here I want to do it for a smaller finger and it would be too wide, so I'm gonna stick with 3 rows instead. So I already have 2 units. I'm gonna build one more. You can make as wide as you want, or you know, you can make it wide and just continue all the way and turn it into a bracelet. So it's entirely up to you. But today we're just practicing right angle weave, and I'm gonna make this ring. So here, to add the 3rd unit here, I have to go to the top unit of 2 beads. So I'm gonna pass the side of 2 beads, and then I'm gonna go up to the 2 beads. And then here again, we're gonna build a square on top of this. 4 sides, 1 side is already there. It means we build 3 sides. That's 2 by 3, 6 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 beads. I'm gonna pass through the same 2 beads through the other side. Then pull my thread. So I have my 3 units ready. Now we have to build further on, or you can just build on this side, whichever way is easier. But since my tail is on this side, I want to leave the tail on the beginning, so I'm gonna move forwards on this way. So it means these 2 beads, that's where I have to be to continue building this way. So I'm gonna bring my needle around to these 2 beads. So I'm just gonna pass through these 2 beads here. Another cool trick is to hold beads down with your fingers when you're pulling your needle, because they are quite loose. Not super loose, but if you pull your needle the wrong way, you might end up, you know, leaving a lot of gaps of thread showing. You don't want that happening. So once you get your needle through the beads you want to go through, you're not gonna get lost after that. So you just hold down the beads and pull your thread. And I'm almost there. These are the 2 beads I want to go through. So I'm gonna go through these 2 beads, hold down the beads, and pull my thread. Now here, I'm gonna start building this way, and then we're gonna go down this way. So we're gonna build a square on top of this, which means again, 3 sides, because we already have the first side here. So again, we're gonna pick up 6 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 beads. And I'm gonna pass through those 2 beads again through the other side. So I have the first unit of the 2nd row. So now here I have to build my square on this side. But the thing you have to remember now, because we have this side, these 2 beads is one side, these 2 beads is the 2nd side. So it means we have to build 1, 2 sides of this square, which means 4 beads. But now the question is, where does my needle go? In right angle weave unit, there are several reasons it's called right angle weave, because it's usually squares building shapes, which means squares have right angles inside. But the other thing is where you take your needle. You cannot take your needle straight in right angle weave unit. For example, if I went downwards, it means I went straight, which means you can't do that. The reason for that is you would create, like for example, let's just say I will go through and then I can just take my needle back. I went through the wrong way. What I did is I just went straight, and what you did, you ended up with that new thread path, which is wrong. You just end up that bare thread showing in the middle, and in the end we will not be able to embellish it. So what you are supposed to do instead, you make a right turn, which you are supposed to do, and I'm gonna go through these 2 beads instead. See, no new paths, no threads showing, and you made the right turn, which is 90-degree turn. And then I'm gonna pick up my 4 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pass through this side, turning it all into a square shape. See? We have the 2nd unit ready, but we just have to connect it to this part as well, because it's not connected exactly. So now we have our 2nd unit ready. And now we have to build one here. Again, we have 2 beads on this side we have 2 beads on this side. So we have 2 sides ready, which means we have to build 1, 2 sides. And I have to take my thread to one of the ready walls already there. So 1, 2, so let's say where my needle will take me. So I'm gonna go down. And then I'm gonna go through these 2 beads here. So now I'm already on one of the ready sides of the unit I have to build, but my thread is not exactly where it is supposed to be. I mean, I can't build these 2 walls with my thread going there. So I'm just gonna pass through the second wall. And then I'm gonna pick up missing 4 beads, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then go through this side, turning into a square shape. I'm just gonna pull my thread. So I have my second row ready. Easy peasy, isn't it? Now I have to start building here and then upwards. So my thread has to be coming out of these 2 beads here. So I'm just gonna come around. And now this unit that we have to build, we just have 1 wall ready of it. So it means we have to build 1, 2, 3 walls, 6 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm gonna pass through the same 2 beads through the other side, turning it into a square, which usually looks like a round for now. And now we have to build the unit here. We have 1 wall, well, 1 side of the square, we have 2nd side of the square, which means we have to build 2 sides. That's 4 beads. But where do I take my thread first? I have to be coming out of 1 side of the square that we're gonna build. I cannot go up because that would mean I'm gonna take my needle straight. I have to make a turn. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go through these 2 beads instead. And then I'm gonna pick up 4 beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go down these 2 beads, turning it into a square shape. And then I have to go up there. So I'm gonna go around this way, go up, go through these 2 beads here. And now, just because my thread is not where it is, I'm gonna go up these 2 beads, which is also gonna be part of upcoming square unit. So the square I have to build already has 2 ready sides. I'm gonna pick up 4 beads then. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go through these 2 beads here, turning it into a square. Then I'm just gonna come around to this side because that's where we continue building the next row, right? I'm just gonna come around. That's the only way. There is no other way I can end up in those 2 beads. So by this time, you guys should be able to understand what you're doing. But I'm gonna do 1 more row with you and then I'm gonna let you continue on your own. So here we have to build the next square, which already has 1 wall ready. So it means we have to build a 3. So it's 6 beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm gonna go through these 2 beads again, turning it into a square shape. And then I have to build the second unit, which has already 2 walls ready. We have this one side, we have this one side. So it means we have to build 2 sides. But where do I take my thread? I cannot go straight here. So only option is this way. So I'm gonna pick up 4 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. And turn it into a square shape here, going through these 2 beads, which is already part of this unit as well. and then I'm gonna connect it to the top side. And now I am gonna build this last one. So it means I have to take my thread downwards, and it has to be coming out of one of the walls that's going to be part of the next unit, which means this is going to be part of the next unit, and this is going to be part of this next unit. So my thread has to be coming out of one of those. So I'm just gonna go this way. But in our case, because of how our thread is heading, we'll have to come out of both of them. I have to go down this way as well. And then I'm gonna pick up 4 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, and connect it into a square form. And then I'm gonna go downwards. And where do I take my needle to continue? It's this side. So here I'm gonna let you continue on your own. I think you got the drill now, because it's just building squares. For example, here now, you already have one side of the next square. You build 3 sides. In the next square, you already have this side ready, and you already have this side, which means you will build only 2, and so on. It's just simple math. If you get confused on the way, just remember, square has 4 sides, and how many sides do you already see? So just deduct that and continue from there. So I'll see you guys when you have a full length to go around your finger. Make sure it touches each other, because once we embellish it, it's gonna shrink a bit. And I'm gonna see you back here to embellish it. So I have the full required length. So if I put it around my finger, you can see it touching each other. Because once we embellish it, it's gonna shrink a bit. So you want to make sure you have that extra room right now. So what we're gonna do now, we have to connect it into a band. So I'm just gonna zoom in. So what we do here is, let me explain a bit first. So how we connect it, see this squares on top, squares here, they all have top sides, right? Same here, have squares with top sides. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have this side and this side turn into sides of one square, which means all we do is build the side walls. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we just build 4 walls between them, turning them into squares. So for that, my thread here has to be coming out of the top 2 beads. And now here, this top 2 beads, I'm gonna connect to the top beads on the other side, just the opposite one. So I'm gonna pick up 2 beads, because it's 2 beads per wall, and then I'm gonna go through the other side 2 beads. And if you pull it, look, it's connecting. So, and then to this side, pick up 2 beads, 1, 2, and then go back through this 2 beads on this side. Now here, we have to finish off this square. It has 1, 2, 3 sides. We have to build this one. But where do I take my thread? I cannot go straight, which would be the easiest. If I was coming out of here, I would just add these 2 beads here, but that means I would have to take my thread straight. I can't do that. So only other way is I go up, and then I go to these 2 beads here. And then I can pick up 2 beads and connect it to the opposite 2 beads on this side. And then I come around to add one here. So we just have to go around. And now again here, I have to add the last one here, but how do I take my needle there? I cannot go straight. Only I can do is go downwards here, and then go this way here. And then I can pick up last 2 beads, and then connect it to this bead here, 2 beads. And then connect it to this side, because see, it's not connected into a square yet. And that's it, that's how we did the connection. And now I'm gonna take my needle to the outer side. I'm just gonna flip it over to get it comfortable. I'm gonna take my needle through the first wall, through the first side of the first square, and then I am gonna pick up my 50 nose. So all these gaps between the squares, this gaps here, this gaps here, this gaps here, this gaps here, we're gonna fill up with 50 nose. I'm gonna pick up 150 now, and then I'm gonna go through the next side of the next square. Then I'm gonna pick up 150 now, go through the next 2 beads. Then I'm gonna pick up 150 now, and then go through the next 2 beads. Then 150 now, and then go through the next 2 beads. And then all the way around until you come back to the beginning, and then I'm gonna meet you back here. So you can see I added those 50 nodes all the way around, and I just have one last one left here. So I'm gonna pick up one last 50 node for this row and go through the last 2 11 nodes, and then I might just skip forward a bit and come out through the next 11 nodes. But I also go through that 50 node on the way. Don't skip it, otherwise it will pop out. And now here I have to get to the next row. So I'm going to show you once how to do it, and then you can finish it off all around. It's the same way all over. So now I'm coming out of 11 now. You want to make sure you're coming out of 11 now, not 50 now. And I'm just going to go through these 2 beads, crossing over to the second side. And I want to continue adding 50 nodes, but I don't want to add it on the angle. Like if I add it here, my thread would be going this way. So I'm just going to skip through the first 2 beads first and continue adding 50 nodes. Pick up 150 node, go through the next 2 11 nodes. Look, it just pops down there. 150 node, go through the next 2 11 node. And it just perfectly pops down. So I'm gonna let you continue all the way around. Once you come back here, you're gonna make the turn, go up, go all the way around, adding 50 nodes, make the turn, go up and all the way around. And once you add the last 50 node, you wanna go ahead and get rid of the tail. I wanna show you how to do one of them, and then you can finish off the initial tail on your own. So I'm gonna meet you back here once you have all your 50 nodes in place. So look, I added all the 50 nodes, just have my last one left there. And look how gorgeous it is. So here I'm gonna pick up my last 50 node and then go through last 2 11 nodes and just skip through some beads further on. Doesn't really matter where I come out, just taking it away from there. Here I'm just gonna make one knot. Between that 2 beads there is a thread going on, so I'm just gonna pick up that thread and just make one overhand knot. Pull my needle and I'm gonna go through some beads further on, pull my thread, hiding that knot, and I'm just gonna skip further on several beads. You can make the whole round if you want. If you have a lot of thread left, you can just go around and reinforcing the beads. Entirely up to you. But you don't really need to make tons of knots here because your ring is quite strong right now. Because you know you did so many passes with your thread back and forth, adding those 50 nodes. So now here I can just go ahead and get rid of the tail. So what you're gonna do here, just thread this tail here and just take it through the nearest 11 node and just take through some beads. You don't have to make knots here as well because you already have 2 knots. Remember, we made 2 knots when we started off. Just take it away from that knot as far as you can so it doesn't have a chance to come apart. And then I'm gonna meet you back here and then we're gonna look at our gorgeous rings. So I have both of my rings ready and look. So I put this on here. Perfect sizing. Look. Very simple, very gorgeous rings. You can do in so many color combos, literally. Any dress you have, anything you have, you can just pick a bead that looks like it and just bead on. I know right angle weave is not the easiest, but if you practice it, it gets better with time, trust me. I started off somewhere as well, and it takes a while to get used to it, but after a while, it just comes naturally. So practice, practice, and practice. For bead amounts and color codes, don't forget to check out the description box. I will also leave a link to a short tutorial where I show you how to add thread on netting, which is basically the same. This is netting as well, but done with different stitch. So if you look at it, all the stitches, you know, have similarity in between them. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.